Hey there, welcome back to the workshop. Today I'm going to show you how to make a garland like the one you see draped down the easel. To start with, it's going to take one 9-foot just standard garland. You can use a pre-lit one or you can use just the regular green, which may be the most versatile for you, at least at first, until you decide where exactly you want to use it. So for what you're going to need to start with is one roll of the 21-inch wide mesh and a couple more ribbon patterns to go with it. So the first thing we're going to do is add our mesh to the garland. So you want to leave a tail, a couple feet long, because the mesh will curl up some. And just like we've done on other projects, use your evergreen greenery. Take a couple pieces and twist it around. Then come down, gather up, push forward a little bit so that you get the mesh bubbling up. Got some fullness going. Twist your greenery and just kind of continue. You can move front to back as you work down, kind of back and forth. This gives you a little more movement. You don't want to do everything perfectly straight. And so you're just going to continue this the full length of the garland, which, as you can see, this goes pretty fast. Garlands are extremely versatile. They're probably the most versatile thing you can use to decorate with for Christmas because they're great for laying over mantles. They can go along the back of a buffet in a dining room. They can go over mirrors, over pictures. They can go over the tops of doorways, or if you want full coverage all the way to the floor down each side of a doorway, you would want to use two 9-foot garlands linked together. Or if you have a double door, you want to use 3 linked together to take it to the ground. Now you just continue along with this. And we're almost to the end. Just keep sliding this across. And your first step will be complete. The mesh is probably the easiest and fastest thing to give you a lot of fullness. And of course, with just those little lines of foil running through it, it gives you just that bit of sparkle that makes a great background. Now that we're here at the end, we're going to leave a tail and we're going to cut straight across again because we want the least amount of surface area left to ravel. Now then, we have our 2 ribbons. And let's bring this back up here. I've got a 4-inch width and a 2.5-inch width. I like to use different widths because, again, it's just more interesting. I'll go ahead and trim the end here so we won't have to come back and do that. As I've mentioned before, I like to do the double point on the 4-inch widths. And again, I'm going to leave a tail hanging. And this one I've already cut at an angle. Now, I want to just pleat up the same way you're going to do a bow, side by side, not on top of each other. And again, lay that down in with the 2 pieces of greenery and twist. Now then, I'm not going to go to this next one. I'm going to skip one. The reason being is if I do every single one, it's going to look very, very uniform and you got this lumpy, bumpy look that's just a bit too uptight. I want more flow to it, so I'm going to skip all the way over to the next one. And you can see I'm leaving some fullness here, so it can drape and move on its own. And that's going to give you really the most attractive finished look. Again, take the two pieces. Now, I'm going to switch sides with my ribbon this time. So whereas the closest to you at this moment is this foil, now then the closest to you is going to be the polka dot. And the reason being is this creates a sinuous curve back and forth. Again, it keeps you from being static. It makes it much more interesting, and every element gets equal play in the design. So I'm pleating these side by side. Tie that down. Move down again. Switch my ribbons. And just keep repeating until we finish this step. Once again, switch the ribbon. Now this time, on this particular one, it's going to work out exactly with every other one. That doesn't always happen. As you're going along and you notice that it's not going to, then you may want to do just a single up here before you get to the end, and then another double, rather than just putting all of a sudden one smaller bump at the end. Get this tied. And our last one. Now, if you're just wanting something basic, at this point, you could be finished. If, for instance, you were going to use this on a buffet with a lot of serving pieces or accessories in front of it, then you may not need to add any ornamentation other than this, and just let the color and the textures of the ribbon and the greenery do their work for you. But for other things, you want some ornaments going on. So we're going to continue on and show you how to take care of that. Now, the next thing we add is the bow. And we want to kind of spot center, which is approximately right here. Now, you can just eyeball it, or you can take a tape measure, but I suggest that our two main feature points are going to be about 3 feet apart, based off of your center here. So you've got 18 inches one way, 18 inches the other way, which is pretty much going to put us at this tie point and at this tie point. So the next thing you're going to add is a bow. Refer back to the video on how to tie bows so that you can get a slow move-by-move instruction on how to tie your bow. But then you're going to come in here and just tie it in. Now, this is not one of the spots that these are tied down. That's okay. Just go in there and tie it down to your greenery. And this is going to be our main focal point when laid or hung wherever you wish it to go. And that takes care of all of your ribbon. The next thing we're going to add is our heaviest ornament. Again, go large rather than small because you use fewer pieces with greater impact. So we're going to dip our ornament in our glue pan and/or add glue with the glue gun. And just tuck that right in the one side of the bow. And then we're going to take a green ornament and tuck in between the loops, kind of at an angle on the other side, just like so. Now remember, this point is our 3-foot mark, and that's going to be our secondary weight or secondary feature point. And so we're going to just put one large ornament over here. Just push that down into the greenery and the ribbon, and that glue will take hold. Okay, now that's got your main feature points. Now, why did I choose 3 feet? Number one, most single doors are 3 feet wide. So this puts these weight points at the top of each door. If it's going across a mantel, this frames out a mirror or painting that you have over the mantel most effectively. You can always widen or lessen if you need to, but this is just a general standard measurement that's going to work for most everyone. Okay, now then, we're going to add smaller ornaments. As I've mentioned in other things, just a bit of white helps to liven up. So I'm using this smaller ornament, and we're going to just tuck one of those in with this cluster. And we're going to take another one and put at our secondary weight area. So it's going to tuck right in here. Now then, at that point, we're going to alternate and use a different pattern. You can use the same all the way across, but why not mix it up and give you a little more variety? Now in this case, this ball, as you can see, has the bald spot at the bottom, which a lot of them do because everything is designed to be hung. Don't worry about showing the hanger, just always tilt the ornament at different angles as you go along, so that it looks almost like it's tumbling through the piece. And never just do straight. Okay, so we're going to do one of those at that tie point. And then we'll do another stripe at the next tie point. Back to this one, and at the end, always put that one in because that typically is hanging down. So always do that one because it is literally hanging like it was originally designed to do. Okay, so we'll leave that one there. Come back over here. And we'll do the same thing in the opposite direction. I'm going to skip down here and put a stripe in. And I'm going to okay, now that we have added all of our balls, we have one final step. So let's move this back up here where we can get to our center section. We want to just add a little bit of air here and widen this just to draw interest. Give it a little more texture. So we're going to take 2 of these beaded branches, just curve them a bit, shape them out, because you want to capture as much space as you want. You don't want anything flat. And we'll clip the stem off just a little bit. Dip the end in the glue. And we're going to tuck this end down in here, get it wedged in between the folds of your ribbon and into your greenery. So you've got that piece going. And then you're going to take a second piece and you're going to continue to follow that diagonal line across. Again, giving everything curves, shaping. There are no perfectly straight lines in nature. And even though this is a fantasy stem, we want it to follow the lines of nature. Now this one we're going to bring up in here so it's coming out between the two balls, because we don't want it just coming out at the bottom. Okay, that gives us a little more interest. And your design is finished. So now all that's left is to put them in place where you want to use them, and you're decorated for the holidays. You can find everything that we've done here at our stores at Trees and Trends, and feel free to try this yourself, alter it to fit your own decor, and have fun. Thanks.